All right, it's time for a little history on the road. I'm in Louisiana this week, and today I'm at the Whitney Plantation, which is about an hour outside of New Orleans. And it's one of the most incredible historical sites in the United States. You can go to lots of plantations, lots of historic plantations in the U.S., but there's only one that's dedicated completely to the story of slavery. So let's go inside and check it out. The Visitor Center has a small but excellent exhibition at the start that provides historical context, and a particular focus on slavery not as a strange labor practice, but rather as a product of global capitalism that's based on exploitation and violence. The Whitney Plantation really emphasizes humanity, the humanity of the people that were enslaved here. And you get that impression the moment you walk in. When you get your lanyard, every lanyard has the name of a person, an enslaved person who lived on this plantation and worked here. And on the backside is a little bit about them and also a quotation from them. These are quotations drawn from the Federal Writers Project of the 1930s. It does a really powerful job of right out of the gate emphasizing the humanity of the people here. And that's a theme that runs throughout the exhibit. One of the first things you encounter is the Wall of Honor, where one sees the names of the 350 enslaved people who lived and labored on this plantation. Sugar raised by enslaved people was its cash crop, what they called white gold because of the stupendous wealth that it generated. All throughout the property you see old rail carts that brought sugar cane from the fields and old iron sugar kettles, which enslaved people used for the hard work of cooking down liquid sugar to solid crystals. Here are the slave quarters, which they tell us held up to 26 people. And here you can see some of the many sculptures depicting the enslaved people who lived, worked, and died on this plantation. These figures help keep the focus on slavery and the enslaved. The largest collection of these figures is located inside a church. This is the plantation jail. No whitewashing of history here. This is the big house where the white enslavers lived. Here's where the curators at the Whitney Plantation made a bold decision. At nearby plantations that downplay or ignore slavery, the big house is presented as a wonderful monument of antebellum elegance and opulence. Here's what you'll see, for example, at the nearby Humus House plantation. There, it's all Scarlett O'Hara and Gone with the Wind bullshit, replete with costumed guides and almost no mention of slavery. To avoid this pitfall, here at Whitney, they decided to remove all the furniture and artifacts of wealth from the big house because they didn't want to take the focus off slavery, the brutal institution that created all the wealth. Throughout the grounds, one encounters powerful works of art, as well as memorials, including one to the transatlantic slave trade, another honoring the thousands of enslaved children who died in this area, and the one that seemed to have the greatest impact on visitors, a memorial to the 1811 German coast slave revolt that took place in this area and resulted in the brutal execution of 50 enslaved people. If you ever get to New Orleans, I highly recommend that you make plans to visit the Whitney Plantation. It's well worth the 1-hour drive or bus trip. All right, that's going to do it for this chapter of History on the Road. Hope you enjoyed it, and if so, click like and also hit follow to keep up on all things history.